Iran dominates the headlines: conflicts, threats, secret alliances, nuclear ambitions. What few realize is that its story is already written in the Bible, its beginning and its end. Yes, Iran appears in the Bible from Genesis to the prophecies of the end times, but under its ancient name, Persia. The Bible doesn't just tell us about Iran's beginning, it also foretells its ultimate destiny in one of the darkest and most feared passages in Revelation, the war of Gog and Magog, a coalition that will rise up against Israel in the last days. But before becoming a prophetic enemy, Persia was God's chosen empire, to free his people, rebuild the temple, and fulfill Daniel's prophecies. Stay with me until the end, because today you're about to discover what very few dare to reveal: Iran's true role in God's greater plan, from the beginning until the end. Biblical prophecies concerning Iran, or its ancient equivalent, Persia, primarily appear in the book of Ezekiel, chapters 38 to 39, as part of the Gog and Magog prophecy, which foretells a future confederation of nations, including Persia, attacking Israel in the last days. This invasion, driven by a desire for plunder, will ultimately result in God's judgment upon the attackers on the mountains of Israel. There are several biblical prophecies of the end times that mention Iran, called Persia or Elam in the Bible. Given the fact that Iran is often in the news as a nation seeking armaments, possibly nuclear, and repeatedly issuing threats against Israel, students of Bible prophecy are taking note. The conflict with Israel in June of 2025 definitely brought Iran to the forefront of Bible prophecy conversations. Iran does have a role to play in the end times, but, first, a little history of Iran and its neighborhood, as it relates to biblical history. Jeremiah prophesied that Elam, a nation east of Babylon, west of Persia, and south of Media, would be conquered and then rise to power again, Jeremiah 49 verses 34 to 39. True to that prophecy, Babylon conquered Elam in 596 BC. But then Persia, under Cyrus the Great, took control of that area, and the Elamites and Medes became part of the Persian Empire. The Medo-Persian Empire ascended to power and conquered Babylon in 539 BC, fulfilling the prophecy of Isaiah 21 verse 2. This happened during the time of Daniel, Daniel 5, in fact, Daniel later resided in the province of Elam in Persia, Daniel 8 verse 2. Persia is the setting for the book of Esther and the first part of Nehemiah. Alexander the Great's conquests put an end to Persia as a world power, fulfilling the prophecy of Daniel 8. In the following centuries, Persia was ruled by the Seleucids, the Parthians, the Sasanians, the Romans, the Byzantines, and finally, in AD 636, the Muslims. In 1501, the state of Iran was founded. The story begins in the book of Genesis, shortly after the Great Flood. With humanity starting over, God initiates a new chapter through Noah and his family, the only survivors left on earth. From Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, emerged the foundations of future nations. Genesis chapter 10 presents what could be considered the earliest map of civilization. It records the genealogies of Noah's sons and how their descendants spread out across the known world, each according to their own language, family group, and national identity. Among these descendants, we encounter 2 key ancestral figures whose bloodlines would one day shape the Persian Empire, Madai and Elam. Madai, a son of Japheth, became the forefather of the Medes, a rugged people who settled in the mountainous northern region of what is now Iran. His descendants were known for their resilience and tribal strength, carving out their place in the harsh terrain. Over time, they formed small communities that grew into powerful clans, laying the foundation for what would become part of the Persian heartland. Elam, on the other hand, was a son of Shem. His lineage led to the Elamites, who established themselves in the lush, fertile region of southwestern Iran, near the Persian Gulf. This area would become a center of influence in the ancient Near East. The Elamites first make a dramatic appearance in Genesis 14, during what is recorded as the Bible's first international conflict. In this account, 4 Eastern kings, including Kedorlaomer, ruler of Elam, launch a sweeping military campaign against Canaan. Their armies conquer cities, enslave populations, and even capture Lot, the nephew of Abraham. This reveals a crucial point: Elam was not a minor tribal community, it was a dominant force, and according to the Bible, the first nation to wage war against God's covenant people. But the story doesn't end there. Abraham, with just 318 trained men, launched a daring nighttime rescue mission. Against all odds, he defeated the Eastern Coalition, liberated Lot and the captives, and sent a strong message: no earthly empire, no matter how powerful, can stand against those who walk in God's favor. Though Abraham's victory was decisive, the Elamites didn't fade into obscurity. They remained a significant presence in the ancient world, destined to play a larger role in both history and prophecy. In the New Testament, people from the area of Iran are mentioned indirectly. Parthians, Medes and Elamites were present in Jerusalem on the day of Pentecost, Acts 2 verse 9. All three of these people groups were Jews who lived in the area of ancient Persia, modern-day Iran, and they were present in Jerusalem to witness the birth of the church. Iran's involvement in the end times will be as one of the nations involved in the battle of Gog and Magog, which probably occurs during the first half of the tribulation. Ezekiel 38 verse 5 specifically mentions Persia as an ally of Magog/Russia. Other nations included in this coalition will be Sudan, Turkey, Libya, and others. This vast army will come against Israel, who at that time will be a peaceful and unsuspecting people. Verse 11. The outcome of this end-times invasion is predicted: God supernaturally intervenes, and Gog's coalition is utterly destroyed. On the mountains of Israel you will fall, you and all your troops and the nations with you. I will give you as food to all kinds of carrion birds and to the wild animals. Ezekiel 39 verses 4-5. Iran, allied with Russia, will think their invasion of Israel is a sure victory, but God has different plans. In protecting Jerusalem, God will send a strong message to the world: I will make known my holy name among my people Israel. I will no longer let my holy name be profaned, and the nations will know that I the Lord am the Holy One in Israel. Verse 7.